Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 16 to 20 of chapter 3. Evam pravartitam chakram
Evam pravartitam chakram
Nanuvartayati hayah
Nanuvartayati hayah
Aghayurindriya ramah
Aghayurindriya ramah
Mogham partha sajivati
Mogham partha sajivati
Yastvat maratireva syad
Yastvat maratireva syad
Atmatriptascha manavah
Atmatriptascha manavah
Atmanyeva cha santushtah
Atmanyeva cha santushtah
Tasya karyam na vidyate
Tasya karyam na vidyate
Naiva tasya krite narthah
Naiva tasya krite narthah
Na krite neha kaschana
Na krite neha kaschana
Na chasya sarva bhuteshu
Na chasya sarva bhuteshu
Kaschidarthavyapashrayah
Kaschidarthavyapashrayah
Tasmadasaktah satatam
Tasmadasaktah satatam
Karyam karma samachara
Karyam karma samachara
Asakto ह्याचरन् कर्म
असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म
परमाप्नोति पूरुषः
परमाप्नोति पूरुषः
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम्
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम्
आस्थिता जनकादयः
आस्थिता जनकादयः
लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि
लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि
सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि
सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So last week we entered into verse number 16, wherein he is giving you the consequences of not following the principle of yajna in your life. Now, as far as you are concerned, when he says of the consequences of not following yajna, what you need to understand is that he's talking about the consequences of not following or not doing the sadhana. See, you can lead your life as a sadhana or as a non-sadhana. That choice has been given to a human being alone. All other creatures don't have the capacity to do sadhana. So we can say that they are existing. What do? They eat, sleep, breathe, procreate, standard activities. And that's it. That is the boundary of their potential. They don't have the capacity to question their own actions. They don't have the capacity to evolve. To ask the question as to what is the purpose of life. Who could be beyond all this? It is only a human being who has been given that capacity. So this is the fundamental difference between existing and living. If you don't use that fundamental capacity which has been given to you in this human birth, then you are merely existing like any other creature in life. So you need to live up to your potential. Many people, I would say the majority of the people in the world, how are they living their lives? You just do a small analysis and see. Or why others? You analyze yourself and just a few people around you. You're also eating, sleeping, breathing, all these things are there. That is the standardized part of life. But somewhere deep within you, you also have that quest. The majority of the people don't allow that to manifest. They are so caught up in their routine activities, earning wealth, enjoying wealth, that is converting the wealth into enjoyments, and then that's it. That is what we'll be seeing here when he says Indriyaramah. In the scriptures, they don't say don't earn wealth, they don't say don't enjoy. But if that alone is your life, then you're not really realizing your true potential. See, if a person can score 100 and if he only scores 40, now you will still say that is not enough. If a person's capacity itself is only 40 and if he gets 40, you will say excellent. So when a master comes into your life and says, see, this is not enough, you need to do more, he doesn't mean to put you down. Actually, he is praising you. See, whenever a master is harsh to a student, a true master, it means that student has a potential. Otherwise, he'll not be wasting his time. So that is why in our yogic tradition, whatever the master gives, we take it as his blessings. So sometimes he may talk in a sweet way, sometimes he may be harsh. He is taking the liberty to do all that because he sees a potential in the student. If he doesn't see the potential, why would he waste his time, effort, energy to guide? So similarly, when these great masters are saying you are not living your life fully, they don't mean to put you down. Actually, they are praising you, they are putting you at a different level. These great masters have so much of faith in you. Your guru has more faith in you than what you have about yourself. So, what is your potential as a human being? It is only when you start realizing your true potential, you're truly living your life. Otherwise, you're merely existing. See, if you see nature in the process of evolution, you have inanimate objects like a stone, then you have a plant, then you have an animal, then you have a human being. I'm just taking 4 examples. Now, don't ask me where is a bird, where is it? There are so many gradations. We're just generally seeing this. Now, a stone cannot breathe, a stone cannot move by itself. So that's why we say it has no life. Now, again, don't bring in this concept of saying, but God is present everywhere, Sarvagatam Brahma. So, isn't consciousness present in that also? That is at the highest level where the consciousness is present, but it's not manifest. So, we are not getting into that. So, the stone is there. Now, a plant can do something more than the stone. it can breathe, it can grow. Actually, the scientists have discovered that even plants have a little bit of emotions. They respond to emotions. All these things, they can give fruits, they can give flowers, so many things are there. Now, unless and until the plant does all that, it is not living as a plant. Supposing the plant is just like a stone, no breathing, no growth, no roots are growing, no flowers, no fruits, nothing, just merely present there, then we say the plant is not living out its life, it is merely existing. Similarly, now from plants you go to animals. And animals can do all those things generally which a plant can do. That is, it can breathe, it can grow, it can give birth to new beings. So many things it can do. But an animal can also do many more things which a plant cannot do. Like an animal can move from place to place. The movement is more wide. A plant's movement is within a place. An animal can move from place to place. The emotions are more developed. That is why people love to have pets. Whether it is a dog or whether it is a cat or a cow. Now, when people have pets, what is it that they are getting back? Have you ever thought about it? It is nothing but love, the emotion. So that is why the mind gets so much attracted. That is, unconditional love is being given. Now, when an animal is living exactly like a stone, not moving at all, not breathing, or if an animal is merely living like a plant, you will say it is not living its life fully. It is only merely existing. Now, similarly, compare the life of an animal with a human being. A human being can do those things which an animal can do, but a human being can do much, much more. What is the speciality? What is the fundamental difference? The life itself expresses more in a human being. The emotional quality can be very high. A human being can conceive of something which is beyond what he or she can see. He has the capacity to question. He has the capacity to evolve spiritually. He has the capacity to facilitate the self-growth, personality development. These are the things which we are calling as sadhana. When you develop your personality, when you develop your consciousness, when you move towards higher, that movement is what is called as spiritual evolution done through sadhana. So when a human being lives exactly like an animal, merely eating, sleeping, procreating, doing a few other things and then dying, we say, no, he or she is not living the human being's life. Rather, he is only existing. It is very interesting. Some people live a life of a stone. Some people live a life of a plant. Some people live a life of an animal. It is only a few people who who start questioning, who start thinking deeply, who live like human beings, who live up to the potential. So when that happens, now you start living your life in a sadhana way. For you, then eating becomes a sadhana, sleeping becomes a sadhana, waking up becomes a sadhana. It's not merely only doing yoga sankirtan. That is a very powerful process, but that has to percolate to your entire percolate in your entire lifestyle. Then relationships become a sadhana. Every aspect of life becomes a sadhana. This is what our great masters are saying. Life can be divided into 12 aspects. What are these empowerment programs? See, we saw health, there is Kaya Tattva, then Prana Tattva, then happiness, Anandoham, then the attracting abundance. Now we saw Sambandha Divya Vignan, the science of divine relationships. What now in the future we'll be seeing one by one, all the 12 aspects will be covered. Now, what is the fundamental basis of all these empowerments? Converting each and every aspect of your life into sadhana. If you don't do that, then you are merely living like a human, like an animal. Which is what we call as existing. See, whenever you live to your level and move up further, we call it as living. Whenever you are living at a lower level, we say that is existence from your level. For an animal, being an animal is living only. For a plant, being a plant is living. But that is not the case with a human being. So, if you see this hierarchy, you will immediately start looking at your own life. You will start examining your life. So much of potential is there. So, in a very simple way, are you living your life in a sadhana way, or are you living your life in a non-sadhana way? Externally, if we take two individuals, one is living a life in a sadhana way, another is living in a non-sadhana way. Externally, they'll be doing the same things. When you earn money, how to do it in a sadhana way? How do you earn money, and then how do you attract abundance into your life, and how do you fill yourself with richness, Shri Shakti? It becomes a sadhana. You can earn money in a non-sadhana way. You can earn money in a sadhana way also. You can relate with people in a non-sadhana way. You can relate with people in a sadhana way. That's what we saw in the last empowerment, Sambandha Divya Vignan. So you should examine how much of your life is a sadhana, how much is it a non-sadhana. The external activities being the same, your approach, your bhavana, the principles which you are practicing, all these things make the difference. So many people ask this question. So people who are not spiritual, people who don't have any concept of sadhana, they also live their lives. They are able to earn a lot of wealth. Do you mean to say all the rich people have done sadhana? They are also relating to everyone. Correct. But the spiritual evolution, has that happened or not? That is a big question mark. So this wisdom teaches you to live life, a very fulfilled life. You see, anybody who starts attending these Sunday sessions and then who starts practicing these principles, then who does their daily sadhana, the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana, is bound to change the quality of his or her life. You will start attracting a lot of abundance. For a sadhak to manifest wealth will become a natural process. So first you do that. Then when you want to go more deep, that is when these empowerments are given. That takes your potential to a different level altogether. But first you need to learn to organize your life in a sadhana way. That is, you should approach your whole life as a sadhana. Then only you are truly living. Otherwise, you are merely existing. So this is the difference between existing and living. So here, when he is talking about the consequences of not doing yajna in your context sadhana, see, yajna was one principle of sadhana, but we can understand it in a broad-based way. So when you don't do sadhana, now he tells you how you are merely existing, you are not living up to your potential, and you start devolving. That is what he is covering in this verse. So primarily, as a sadhak, you should start living your life. Just as we tell a plant, live your life, an animal, live your life. You know, when we say we tell, mean we don't go and tell them. We don't need to tell because they are all already living their lives. That is how nature is designed. It's only when it comes to a human being that choice has been given. So you should use your choice to start living your life fully. How? By doing sadhana. Sadhana does not take you away from wealth or enjoyments and all that. It adds more depth. See, if you are earning money, if you are having a lot of wealth, if you have acquired it in a non-sadhana way, that will give you a lot of stress. Many wealthy people, they are highly stressed. If you form relationships in a non-sadhana way, the same relationships will become a source of stress for you. You may say it's because of the other person. That is a fundamentally erroneous concept. Whatever be that, I'm not even getting into that. But the point is, the same relationships will become a source of stress for you. So life itself will become so stressful when you approach it in a non-sadhana way. You may be externally successful, but you can never be internally stress-free and peaceful. That is why in this verse towards the end, he says, Mogham Partha Sajivati. Oh Partha, oh Arjuna, that person lives in vain, he says. See, first I am just covering the overall theme of this verse. Then we will get into it, into it in a little more deeper way, the deeper aspects. So when he says, one who does not follow the revolving wheel thus set here, what all that means we'll be seeing in detail. You just take it as one who does not do sadhana, who does not convert life into a sadhana. Now, sinful means he lives a life of sin. What is the meaning of that? He uses the word aghayuhu, agam ayuhu, lives in sin. Indriyaramaha, delighting in the senses, means completely caught up in that. He lives in vain, mogham sajivati, O Partha. So when you basically read this verse, this should make you examine your own life. That is the purpose. Even when you are learning the principles of this verse, even when you're studying this verse, it should be done in a sadhana way. What for are we now doing this verse? Why are you attending these Sunday sessions? Sir, I am just bored. I have nothing else to do. Okay, let me listen to these lectures. If that is your attitude, there is no meaning. No, sir, I really like your lectures. You say nice things, you say things in a nice way. Naturally, in a lecture, am I going to be like this and talk? It will not be that way, no. So, it's very nice to hear, therefore I am hearing. Is that enough? That is also a non-sadhana way. Maybe a better start, but it's still not enough. Some people say, oh, I have a lot of questions, and all those questions get answered. Intellectual approach, that is also not enough. Sadhana way of approaching this is the yogic approach. That is, I am learning all this so that my life can become better, so that I can evolve spiritually. The moment you bring in that bhavana, then you are approaching this in a sadhana way. So when you read this, one who does not follow the revolving wheel thus set here, sinful, delighting in the senses, he lives in vain, O Partha. Now immediately you should start examining your life. How much is this happening in your life? Then in the next verse, he'll be giving you the other side. If you follow this, the sadhana, what will be your state? That also we'll be seeing. So these verses, whenever he is giving the consequences, they help you to pause and examine what is happening in your life. If you use it that way, then you're approaching this in a sadhana way. Otherwise, you're just simply reading through for either some, because you have some intellectual doubts or because you have nothing else to do. Some people even approach it merely in an emotional way. One lady was telling me, sir, I don't understand anything which you say, but I just, like you so much. So every Sunday, not only Sunday, every day also I spend a little time. Simply just I'll just put on your lectures. Doesn't matter what you say. I don't know whether she's muting it and seeing also. Simply just, it's so nice. That is merely an emotional approach. That also will not work. Sadhana means going beyond all this, rising above all this and utilizing this for your spiritual evolution. So your life itself is like that. If you use this life to perfect yourself more and more every moment, every day, then you are living your life in a sadhana way. Otherwise, he says you are living in vain. And before you know, the time will fly, So you come back, you keep taking birth after birth. You means, I mean the soul, in order to learn the lessons of life. through sadhana. And till you learn the lessons of life, you cannot go further up. The consciousness cannot rise up. If you forcefully try and do it, it will fall back again. So before even going into the verse, it will be a good thing for you to just read the whole translation and absorb it. Then you will automatically start examining your own life. What am I doing in my life? Am I living my life in a purposeful way? As a human being, what is my potential? And what am I doing? When I say what am I doing, it's not that you have to change the activity necessarily. How am I doing my activity? Okay, let us refine it more. What am I doing? Because you may take it as, yes, sir, I am just doing these, I am in the family, doing this, doing that, and now let me leave all this and let me only study the Bhagavad Gita every day. You will get into problems. So when it is said, what are you doing? It means, how are you doing? That is, with what bhavana are you approaching your activities? What is the intention? What is your approach? Are you living these higher values, these higher principles in your life? How will you know? We will be seeing in detail in this verse, but in a gentle way I'm saying, simple thing. Are you stressed? To the extent your mind is disturbed, to that extent your approach is a non-sadhana way. To the extent your mind is calm, peaceful, happy, to that extent you're approaching life in a sadhana way. Simple. If you take it to the extreme, self-realization is a state where a person has absolutely no stress, no disturbance. Of course, there is much more to it. Infinite happiness starts flowing. So you can take that as a simple yardstick. See, I'm simplifying this verse. When you read it at a glance, I'm simplifying the sadhana application, the sadhana message for you. Simple. Just find out in any experience, if your mind is getting stressed and disturbed, then it means there is something wrong with your approach. Again, see, disturbance means there can be two kinds of disturbances. When you're growing in life, that also can cause a little disturbance. We are not talking of that. But when you approach life, for example, you are having relationships. Now, if there are a lot of issues in the relationship, it means you're not applied these higher principles. Now, you may say, sir, the other person is doing this. This wisdom teaches you how to handle all that. Nobody is perfect. Are you perfect first? If the other person is doing something, you should know how to handle. That is what this wisdom is all about, no? A sadhak never complains. A sadhak creates. You should create what you want in life. Not simply sit and keep blaming others, blaming circumstances. If you are having financial issues and that is bothering your mind, it will bother your mind, because without money, how can you perform your duties peacefully? Money is very useful. That is why the great masters, they worshipped money, wealth as goddess Lakshmi. It is an essential aspect of your life. Either you go to the forest and live alone. There also you will not be left alone. Or if you are in the world, do your duties properly. See, this is the very theme of this chapter, Karma Yoga. So if you are having financial issues, means first thing, use these sessions every Sunday. You're getting so many principles, no? Use these principles. Use the Yoga Sankirtan Sadhana to manifest wealth. There is nothing wrong if you're consciously doing it in a sadhana way. Don't complain and say, I don't have wealth. That's why these materials are being given to you. And then when you do the empowerment programs, your capacity to manifest increases automatically in each and every aspect of life. One by one we are covering. So like Sambandha Divya Vignan which we did, the divine science of relationship, that is an empowerment which was aimed towards increasing your capacity to cause complete emotional purification and stability from within, and also manifest that joy, happiness, that divinity, divine energy in all your relationships. So all of you felt that when you did that empowerment. Now the sadhana materials which you have procured and you will be following, you will be doing those sadhana. Now that will further and further infuse that energy within you. This is how we need to approach. So use this verse, then the next verse is also that will be giving the consequences of following this wheel which has been set here as he calls it. So use all these verses to examine your life. That is number one. Number two, when you examine your life, when you see a negative consequences, the idea is to avoid that. And in the next verse, when he's going to give you the positive consequences, now that should inspire you to walk in the right path. So simply just analyzing and saying, yeah, this is not good. And then again, in your life, you're doing that only. Some people say, yes, sir, complaining is not at all good. But sir, my wife is complaining a lot. One man actually told me, sir, how wonderfully you are explaining that you should never complain. But my wife is complaining. Now immediately I asked him, okay, you're saying your wife is complaining, but what are you doing now? You're complaining that your wife is complaining, no? So first you practice. Then we'll talk about if she wants, let her approach. Guidance can be given. So see, somewhere if you slip, you don't follow the principles properly, and then you say, sir, I'm doing sadhana, but nothing, this result is not coming, that result is not coming. No. I tell many people, see, if you want a change of job, for example, in finance and work and all that, now you should resign from a job after you get another job. That is only the right way of doing it. Without any pressure you can do. Many people, they first resign and then they sit and look for another job. It's an unnecessary pressure. Sometimes it may work. Sometimes if there is a delay, now it causes a lot of stress. So there you have to intellectually analyze with clarity. If you plan and execute the plan properly, that is the sadhana. So when you don't practice it and then you say, sir, I am sitting and doing Yoga Sankirtan sadhana, see, you have not absorbed the energy and these principles and you're not practicing them properly. So whenever you are stressed in life, understand that there is a lack of sadhana approach in that aspect of your life. It could be financial stress, it could be stress in your relationship between you and your spouse. There could be a problem. Lot of stress may be there. If that is there, means that is when you should bring these sadhana principles. If there is stress in your work, you should apply these higher principles there. It means that it is a non-sadhana way. So just because you are attending these Sunday sessions doesn't mean now you have become a sadhak. No. You have taken the first step. It is only when you convert all your activities into sadhana, you have become a sadhak. And when you get established in that only, you can say, I am a sadhak. Otherwise, you have only taken the first step or second step. In a very humble way, if you understand the spirit of this verse, it will really, really take you to the next level. So, what is he saying here? Evam pravartitam chakram. Na anuvartayati iha. Evam pravartitam chakram means, see, chakram means wheel. Pravartitam chakram means the revolving wheel, the rotating wheel. So the revolving wheel which has been set thus, here, iha means here, eva means set. Now, yaha means whoever it may be, na anuvartayati, one who does not follow. Now, such a person's life will be very negative. How, in what way it will be negative, we'll see. But first you just understand this. That is, such a person lives in vain, not living up to his or her potential. So, yaha means whoever it may be. Interestingly, in the next verse, when he gives the positive benefits, the consequences, he gives the highest. He talks of a realized soul. Now, you can bring it to your level also. We'll see that when we come there. But the point is, again he says yaha saha. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, you will find that he'll be using this pair, yaha saha, yaha saha. Whoever does this will get this benefit. Whoever does this in a wrong way will have to face the negative consequences. He does not talk about birth, whether the caste, creed, religion, all these things. These rules are applicable to everyone, irrespective of your religion, caste, creed, position, nationality, all these things. If you follow these higher principles, you will become spiritual, you will grow. If you don't follow, you will devolve. Simple. A person cannot claim superiority just because he is wearing a particular dress. I'm saying this is the very basics of Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is not a religion. Dharma means righteousness, principles. Righteous principles. Sanatana means eternal. Applicable at all periods of times. Anyone can use it, use these principles, because these are principles of life. Actually, the word Hinduism is not there in any scripture, if you take. It was coined much later. Religions are different. The dharma is different. The religions are supposed to be based on dharma. But when we talk of the higher wisdom, we are talking about the dharmic, the principles, the higher principles of life, which can never ever change. None of these principles will change with time. 1,000 years back, somebody practiced all this. They evolved spiritually. Now, today you practice all this, you will evolve. 1,000 years later, if someone else takes this up and practices all this, again they will evolve. You know, the Yoga Sankirtan material which has been given, just imagine, many, many years later, 1,000 years later, let us say, someone picks up that Yoga Sankirtan material and sincerely does the sadhana every day. Won't he or she evolve spiritually? So this has no relevance to time, position, religion, nationality, all these things, caste, yaha saha, over it may be. So that will give you that confidence. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you've done in the past. Nobody has a perfect past. If you have a perfect past, then there is nothing for you to evolve, no? Whatever be the state of your life, are you willing to evolve? Are you prepared to choose the higher? That choice is there within you. That is the implication of yaha saha. Very powerful. So if you choose to devolve, you will devolve. In the next verse, he'll say, if you choose to evolve, you can evolve. So when we come to the next verse, again, I will cover that yaha saha, because that has to be deeply ingrained in your consciousness. You are given results according to your efforts, according to your sadhana. This is the law. You help someone. It's not that the same person alone will help you back. See, when you accumulate positive karmas, now when you're in need, somebody else may come and help you. Now you will say, sir, I helped only that person. Why is this person coming and helping? That is how the law of karma functions. I'm saying from a helping point of view. The law of karma is not restricted to mere ethics and morality. Because some people ask, sir, how come a bad person is successful? First of all, what do you mean by bad? You mean that person's intention is to harm others, right? This is what I'm assuming. But just find out, is that person putting in proper efforts to succeed or no? Even if it is in a wrong way, Shakuni manipulated. He was selfish, destructive, but he put a lot of effort, no? Now accordingly he is rewarded. He will be getting success. But then he tried to harm others. For that also he will have to face the consequences, negative consequences. So these questions themselves are wrong. Why are bad people successful? Why are good people suffering? It is not because of the goodness that a person is suffering. See, your concept of spirituality is very limited. You think merely going to a place of worship or merely being, some people say, I am so God-fearing. Then why are these things happening? First of all, being God-fearing is not devotion. What is there to fear God? You should be God-loving. That is only devotion. Sir, I fear God. If you say I am God-fearing, it means actually you're having a lot of guilt. You have not acted according to your conscience in the past. So that is creating that fear. And now you're putting it on God. So come out of these limited concepts, whoever it may be. This is a law of karma. According to the cause, the effect is created. Simple. So, yaha saha, one who does these things, that person will get these results. Here he is talking about negative results. We will also be seeing the positive aspect. Then in the next verse, he'll be directly giving you the results of performing yajna, of converting your life into sadhana. So, one who does not follow the revolving wheel set here, we will take up that line first. Evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartayatiha yaha. Now, every verse has a unique approach. There are always unique principles given around which that verse is built. We saw that parasparam, and in one verse it was yajna. Actually, if you go to the previous verse, that is verse number 14, it was about the backward analysis which was made. It's very interesting. Similarly, in this verse, the uniqueness, first thing which you should notice as a sadhak is this word chakram. It is an amazing principle. It is not merely a word. We will come to the application of that principle with respect to yajna and all that. But first you will have to understand the power of that word chakram. If you take the literal meaning of chakram, chakram means wheel. Chakram means a circle. Chakram means a cycle. See, if something is happening periodically, that is also called a chakram. Anything which repeats itself. These are all simple meanings of the word chakram. Here we are saying wheel. Now, our great masters have used this word chakram in a very deep way. Actually, if you look at this whole universe, everything in this universe exists in the form of chakram only, chakra. Everything happens in a cycle. See, you take time, space and causation. Time, they called it as Kala Chakra, the wheel of time. Many years back when I took this management seminar on time mastery, in the first session I explained to them what is this wheel of time. There was a reporter who had attended that session, and in the break time he came to interview, and what he shared was something interesting. He said, "Sir, I've attended a lot of management seminars on time. This is, of course, you're going next step. You're saying how to master time. That itself was a revelation. And then this principle of the wheel of time and how your life is within that wheel is something so fascinating," he said. I told him that is the wisdom of the yogis. It can be directly applied everywhere, more so in the corporate world. So, if you take time, the cycles of time keep repeating. Morning comes, and noon comes, and evening comes, night comes, again morning, noon, evening, night, again morning, noon, evening, night. This is a cycle, a chakra, which is happening in the micro level, on at a daily level. You see the seasonal chakra, very interesting. Summer, then you have autumn, then you have winter, then you have spring, and then summer, autumn, winter, spring. It's a chakra, keeps on repeating itself. That's why our yogis called it as Kala Chakra. Actually, if you take your life, you see, the thing is, you limit your life only to this birth. But if you go beyond that, if you look at it from a higher level, the yogis see this whole life as a chakra only. How? You're born, then you grow, you become a child, that is, you're born as a baby, child, youth, then you become an adult, then old age, then you die, and then you're again born. Again the cycle. And then again you die, then you're born. This is the life cycle. What our yogis called as Janana Marana Chakra. To summarize it, you can say Jiva Chakra, the cycle of life. That is at a further advanced level. So when we are talking of chakra, it is not just simply revolving wheel set there. No. See, this is the yogi's vision. A yogi sees every aspect of life as a chakra only. So this is with respect to time. Then with respect to space, it is like a chakra only. It is an elongated. You can see what is the shape of Earth. We say it's spherical. This was given much before the scientific the modern scientific discoveries. If you go to the Puranas, they mention in the Varaha avatar of Lord Vishnu, they described the earth as spherical only. Bhugola, that is a Sanskritam word, no? The word itself means this dimension of earth which is gola. Gola means that which is round. It may be elongated, maybe that is all okay. So if you take space, this side, that side, it looks flat, but it comes and joins. That is what these great yogis discovered. And the modern science is also moving towards the same discovery now. Then, if you take causation, again, there is a repetition. There is a seed. Seed becomes a plant, tree, and the tree gives fruits. Fruits give seed. Again, the seed becomes a plant. That cycle keeps on going. The cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect. Father, mother, then you are produced. You and your partner, you give birth to your child. See, so You were a son or daughter at one point of time, then you become a parent. It's a cycle of cause and effect. So whenever there is a cause, there is an effect. Whenever there is an effect, it becomes a cause for further effect. It's a chakra, the cause and effect chakra. That is what is actually karma chakra, they called it. So our great masters, they kept using this word chakra because they saw life itself in the form of a chakra. So if you want to really understand the depth of this verse, the first thing is you should start seeing your life as a chakra. You have to first get that perception, that vision. Otherwise, you will not get the real impact of this verse. Oh, one who does not follow the revolving wheel thus set here, delighting, he lives in vain. See, he could have easily said it as one who does not do yajna, now is living in vain. And he could have gone, no, he is deliberately saying pravartitam chakram. The implication of that, as we go into the depth, you will start realizing. But first of all, you understand the broad principle. So even in your personal life, you see, you're just repeating the same thing again and again. Mechanically you're doing. Now in this, he will say you have, what we'll be seeing, you have different types of chakras, and how when you consciously do certain things, how when you consciously use this principle of chakra in your life, you can use it to evolve. And when you choose the wrong things, you will be using the same cycle, the same principle of chakra to devolve. That's what we'll be seeing here. So you take one aspect like relationships. So it's supposing, let's say, between a husband and wife. See, one boy, after he's got married for last 1 year or so, periodically he's been sending me mail. Interesting. There's a message for him also. If he can sit with all the mails which he has sent, he will understand this cycle. 1 week he says, oh sir, so wonderful, me and my wife, we are like really enjoying ourselves. We're having such a wonderful relationship. Thank you so much, sir. Next week, sir, so much of quarrel happened. We require healing. It's all, please bless us with healing. Next. Third week, sir, last few days, it was wonderful. It's like a wheel, You observe your own relationships. 1 second you're close. Then when you get close, you get attached. You develop a lot of unreasonable expectations. She should do this, she should do that. None of your expectations will be fulfilled. Where there is attachment, there will be sorrow only. Where there is love, there will be happiness. What you're thinking as love towards your own wife or towards your own husband is actually not love, it is attachment. And attachment will give stress. So you will get close, then the stress will be created because of attachment. So getting close, becoming attached, stress is created, then that stress will push you away. And once you get pushed away, you start complaining. You start fighting, complaining. The complaint will become a quarrel. And then after a while, it will all down. Again, you will get close. Again, you will get attached. You will develop expectations. Those expectations will not be fulfilled. So you will become stressed, sorrowful, angry, and then the fight, quarrel. Again, you will get close. This cycle is going on and on. This is the cycle of stress, we can say. Our yogis didn't give any name for that. Just as we said, no? Kala chakra, this chakra. Similarly, you are caught up in a stress chakra, we can say. Now, unless you understand how this cycle is functioning, you will not be able to get out of this. and choose the other cycle which is positive. So it's easy to explain this verse in a linear way, but in the yogic approach we will not stop with that. The whole idea is for you to use this to examine your life. Today you're examining your life in a linear way, not as a circle, not as a chakra. That's why I introduced time, space and causation. Interesting, see space externally and internally. See externally also, the planets are all revolving around the sun. Now that is also a chakra only, of chakra formation. Now if you take your own cells, the nucleus is there, the the electrons are vibrating, they are moving. Now if you go deeper and deeper and deeper within you, if you go to the pranic body, it is it is made of energy centers called chakras. If you go to the emotional body, they are made up of subtle energy centers. There are other kinds of chakras there. A yogi sees all that. He is able to experience all that. Then at the level of karmas also there is a cycle. In any situation is there, you react negatively, you create an impression which becomes a karma that makes you react negatively further to other instances. And that further strengthens your karma. Again a cycle goes on. Even if you take all the functionings of your body, just a simple thing like circulation if you take, there is a cycle. You eat food, it gets digested, the various processes are there, like the acid is sent, then the churning happens, then the waste materials are sent to the intestine, and then the nutrition is absorbed, that gets circulated, then the waste materials are thrown out, again you eat food. This is a process, the cycle keeps repeating. So the yogic vision is that every aspect of life functions according to the principle of chakra. So you also need to first develop that yogic vision. Things don't happen in a linear way as you are thinking. See, when you do something wrong, let us say, wrong means harmful. You think, okay, just once I'll get away with it. It doesn't work like that. It will set a chakra in motion. One by one, the consequences will start happening. Similarly, when you do a positive thing, again it sets a chakra in motion in life. You are harsh to someone, it sets a cycle in motion. You are kind to someone, it sets a cycle in motion. This is a spiritual application of chakra. So first you should start looking at your life as a cycle. Take this up as your homework first today, this week. Just see how you are caught up in your own cycles, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your personal habits. One day you laze around, you wake up late. Now everything becomes late. Thereafter, next day. Before you know, 2-3 weeks now, you come out of your discipline. Some people, they have the habit of delaying things. I tell them, you're setting that a wheel in motion. Now then everything in your life will start getting delayed. Some people, they have the habit of always being impunctual. If you say 7 means, they'll come at 7:05. If you say 8 means, they'll come at 8:05. If you say 6 means, they'll come at 6:05. If you can come at 6:05, why not come at 7? They will not. For such people, you will find their life itself, everything will be delayed a little bit. So spiritual evolution, that will also get delayed for them. who is responsible? That person only, because he has put this chakra in motion. When we come there, we'll see anuvartayati means following. How you set these wheels in motion, that determines your life. The law of karma functions in a cyclic way. The law of karma functions in a chakra way, we can say, according to the principle of chakra. And constantly you're starting off some wheel in your life without knowing what you're starting. See, when you do something, you don't know what the consequences. You just do something, but it sets a big wheel in motion. And then when those consequences take place and when the negative result comes into your life, you start grumbling, you start crying. I'm so good, why is God punishing me? All these things you say. Sir, I'm doing sadhana, but this is not happening. You're not doing the sadhana properly. A true sadhak will be very sharp. He will get to understand what cycle is he, what chakra is he starting. Every action of yours actually sets a wheel in motion. Now, in this verse, when he says, one who does not follow the revolving wheel thus set here, he is talking about the yajna chakra. If you don't do that, what will be the effect? In the next verse, he'll say, if you put this wheel in motion in your life will become so wonderful. So, the yajna chakra and those, if you don't follow that, how it can destroy your life, all that we'll see, so that you can avoid those danger areas. But first of all, this week you do this homework. Start seeing your whole life in a chakra way, through this principle of chakra. See, from morning till night, what all you're doing. You know, psychologists, they say that more than 99% of your thoughts get repeated every day. 99.9% they say. Again, it's a cycle. So whether it is a negative habit or whether it is a positive habit, how is it that you're getting into that habit? It's by setting a wheel in motion and then you get caught up in that wheel. If in case it is a positive habit, means you're lucky. Actually, you're not lucky, you're only chosen. But I'm saying, you're not doing anything consciously. There is no awareness at all. So every action of yours, how it is creating a wheel in motion in your life, I want you to first observe that. Do it to your capacity. Don't ask me, sir, which wheel, that wheel, this wheel. No. As we go into the depth of these verses, you will be able to understand everything. But first, you start off with observation, examining your life. So, right from morning till evening, you are not performing mere karmas or actions. You are actually setting off, you're actually triggering karmic cycles. You're not just performing one action in isolation. You are setting off wheels. So when that wheel runs and when that consequences comes back to you, you don't know what is the cause for it because you have forgotten. Every thought you're generating, that is triggering a cycle. Every emotion is triggering a cycle. You're having fear. That's a negative cycle can be triggered, and finally you may get some disease in life. You don't know what is the cause. Whether it's fear or anger or whatever it is, it's a cycle. So just look out for these, these cycles in your life. How every moment you're triggering a cause effect chakra all the time. Okay, so do that homework and come back next week. We'll go into further depth. We'll just in brief see the yajna chakram, which we've already seen in the last two verses, and then we'll also go into a little more depth about this chakra. What gives the power? How can you infuse the power to these cycles? And how you can use that to your advantage? All that we'll see in the coming sessions. Okay. So now before we do the Nididhyasana meditation, I'll take up one question. Hari Om Guruji, pranams. This is with regards to the Sunday session, wherein you mentioned that infinite has 5 functions, whereas I always thought it had only 3 functions of creation, maintenance and destruction. And the moment you said there are 5 functions, I had my inquisitive mind running, and so I did online search and found that the other 2 functions, whatever you mentioned, the illusion, anugraha, all those things you mentioned. Now, I don't know whether the last 2 are correct, but this is what I collected from online. My question is, was my seeking more of information gathering, or am I really going for the depth? And if I am going in the wrong direction or being superficial, kindly guide me to the correct path. Seek your kind clarification on this, Guruji. Pranams. Now, I will give you the principle first. Before even I give you the principle, this is a direct message to the sadhak. That is, when I scan and see the energy of this question, it is very clear that you yourself have become aware of the mistake which you're making. See, you're asking me whether this is information gathering or depth. Actually, it is coming from an increased awareness. You are able to see that this is not depth. You are able to see that you are slipping away from sadhana, and that is why you are asking this question. So, the direct message to the sadhak is, just close your eyes and look at your own bhavana, locate that guilt first. And that guilt is built on the right principles only, but being living with that guilt is not okay. You should release that, but you should correct yourself. So you yourself know that you are not on the wrong path. You're not in the right path. You're moved away, and that is why this question is coming from within. Number 1. Number 2, see, as far as the depth of this wisdom is concerned, what can give you the depth? Your question itself is illogical. Sir, you have told one point. Now I went and searched online. Am I going for depth or am I going for information? It's obvious you're going for information, because depth cannot be got from outside. A guru gives you a little bit of information. Whatever information is required. Actually, we are giving more than what is required. So much is being given. Now, how do you go for depth? It is through internal reflection of what you have gained, not by gaining more material. So, that exercise itself is moving away from depth. So, when you understand that, this question itself will get dissolved. Now, whether that is right or wrong, there is nothing like right or wrong. Each one settles at his or her level. If you are at this level of depth, means you will settle down at this level of depth. If another person is at a higher level of depth means that person will go deeper. So a person who wants to read a lot of things, now his focus is only on acquisition of external knowledge. That too, these so-called online sources, first of all, there's no verification which happens. Anybody can come and start a blog. Anyone can just give his or her views on anything, starting from finance to relationships to God also. Everyone is self-experts. So you're just picking up some information, whether that information is coming from the correct source, whether information is right or wrong, that also you don't verify. Number two, even if you verify that, that is only giving you information. You're moved away from depth. Now, what should you do? It is not for me to say. See, let us be very clear. There are two things. One is devotion, the other is surrender. Now, when you develop devotion to a master, now that is a starting step. You will start getting the wisdom, you will start getting healing, all that. But guidance, personal guidance, direct guidance will be given by the master only to those people who surrender. Surrendering means completely following the path which is shown without any distraction. Even when you do the empowerment program, first of all, if you don't have surrender, your mind will not allow you to do the empowerment program. Very interesting. Because empowerment programs require more surrender. To the extent you surrender, only you can receive the empowerment energy. So, when you have devotion, great. You have a wonderful start. You establish a nice connection. You receive the healing. You take the principles. You follow it in your life. Very nice. But if you want personal guidance or exact tips and all that, for that surrender has to be done. This is a law. Again, whoever does it will get it. It has nothing to do with whether you're physically close or not physically close, all these things. Some people may be very close to the master physically, but if they have not surrendered, means they will not get that real guidance. So in this case, I can see the energy of devotion is there's no doubt, but surrender, it's a little less. So you will have to improve on it if you want guidance. But this is what the principle is. Length and depth are opposites. So if you're going for length of knowledge, you cannot go to the depth. If you're going for the depth, you will not have time for length. And in the yogic approach, the master balances the length and depth every session. So if you have come here, if you want to really go into the depth, develop that surrender. If you say, no sir, I don't want depth, but I have that devotion, I want to learn a few things in a generalized way, I would like to practice in my life, yes, that is your choice. A master never interferes with the student's choice. That's why the end of the Gita, Krishna says, I have said all that I have to say. Arjuna, yatha ichasi tata kuru, do as you like. No less a person than an avatar, Lord Krishna himself doesn't interfere with the decision of Arjuna, but he presents everything and says, now it is up to you to choose. Okay? So now we'll do Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond my physical body, beyond my pranas, beyond my emotions and thoughts, lies my real self. My higher self is infinite and divine. Oh. From this moment onwards, I choose to live my life in a sadhana way. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Wriggle your fingers, your toes, open and close your palms a few times. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. And cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, your cheeks, forehead, the top of your head, the back of your head, your neck, and slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So in today's session, you have been introduced to this principle of chakra. Actually, when you understand this principle, you will begin to see your life itself in a different way. Because many a times you don't know why things are happening to you in that particular way. When you start seeing the principle of chakra cycles in your life, when you grow with this wisdom, a time would come where you'll be able to pinpoint, oh, this is what is causing this. That is a higher clarity. So do the homework which was given to you for this week. Because when you develop the yogic vision, it's very easy to go into the depth of these verses. Okay? So I'll see you in the next week. Thank you very much. Hari Om.